Good afternoon, everybody. So today I am going to be doing a read aloud. The read aloud is going to be over The Grand Canyon by Jason Chin. So as I'm reading this book aloud, I'm going to be asking y'all some questions. So let's get started. Okay, Grand Canyon by Jason Chin. So automatically, as soon as I opened this book, I noticed it has a detailed map of the Grand Canyon. This is a physical map, and it shows the Colorado River going through the Grand Canyon. I'll give you a closer look for y'all to see. We have a average width 10 miles, average depth 1 mile, maximum width 18 miles. The area of the Grand Canyon National Park 1,904 square miles. So it is huge. And it has some key points. It has the North Rim Visitor Center. It has major points all the way from Lake Powell in Arizona all the way to Lake Mead at the other end, bordering Arizona and Nevada. And it has a deeper view right there to where you see where it is located in Arizona. So it is in North Arizona, right next to the border. It goes all the way from the border of Nevada to the border of Utah. Okay, so we're gonna go on to the next page. And this page describes the weathering and erosion process. So who remembers what we learned about previously about weathering and erosion? That is correct. So rivers carve canyons. When they cut down the earth, canyons grow deeper right here. As weathering and erosion break apart their walls, canyons grow wider. Over time, rivers wash all eroded material away. These processes have been at work for millions of years and relentlessly carving the mighty gorge known as the Grand Canyon. So here we go, the Grand Canyon. Grand Canyon is one of the largest canyons in the world. It is 277 miles long, as much as 18 miles wide, and more than a mile deep, but it is much more than the hole in the ground. It is home to an astonishing variety of plants and animals. The canyon is much hotter and drier at the bottom than at the top. Because of this, different groups of plants and animals or ecological communities are found in different elevations of the canyon. The hottest part of the canyon is at the very bottom, a 1,000-foot deep chasm called the Inner Gorge. The Inner Gorge may be the hottest part of the canyon. There are also oases in the desert. So I want you to notice this chart that we see on the side right here. This chart is very important because it shows the ecological communities in the Grand Canyon. So there's different ecosystems in the Grand Canyon. So the highest point right here is the boreal forest. The elevation above is above 8,200 feet. So it is the highest point. The second point right here is the, excuse me if I mispronounce stuff, Ponderosa Pine Forest. Elevation is between 7,000 and 8,200 feet. The next section we have right here is the Pinyon Juniper Woodland. Elevation is between 4,000 and 7,000 feet. Ooh, now we're getting below the bottom of the canyon. We have the Desert Scrub, where elevation is below 4,000 feet. At the very, very bottom, near the Colorado River, is the riparian, which is along the rivers and streams, and is at level elevation right here. So this is where we're going to have the kayaking and the floor level right here. Creeks bring life-giving water into the gorge. A wide variety of species live along the banks, including frogs, dragonflies, mule deer, and endangered southwestern willow flycatchers. Many of these creatures are permanent residents that rely on running water for survival, while others are visitors drawn here by their thirst. So if you look around this page shows all the different wildlife that lives in the Grand Canyon, near the creeks or near the river. Eventually, every creek in the canyon flows into the largest stream of all. Now, what stream do we think we're talking about? That is correct, the Colorado River. The Colorado River runs the entire length of the Grand Canyon, continually washing sediment away and slowly deepening its channel. It's been cutting into the land around 5 million years, slicing through layer after layer of rock. Today, it is cutting into the Vishnu Basement rocks. These rocks are part of the continent basement, the bottommost layer of the rocks of the continent. So here we have another chart right here. I'm just going to scooch over. We have another chart that shows the rock layers of the Grand Canyon. So we have right here, let's start the top one right here. We have the Kaibab Formation. Now this formation at the top part right here, right here, this is approximately 270 million years old. So scientists have been coming to the Grand Canyon, studying these rocks, studying their different ages, and it determines the study of the Earth and how long the Earth was formed. Excuse me. So we also have the Torreot Formation, which is about 273 million years. Now, I'm not going to list all of it. I'm just going to list a few, but it shows you the different layers of rock formations. So we will also be using this book when we go into our rock formations. Excuse me. The basement rocks are the oldest in the canyon, as much as 1.84 billion years old. Many younger rock layers are stacked on top of them. If you hike out of the canyon, you'll pass younger and younger layers as you climb, as if walking through time. Above the basement level, you will reach the Grand Canyon Supergroup. Here you may find ripple marks preserved in stones. Clues like these tell us what this place was like when rocks were formed. They are like windows into the past. So I'm actually going to stop right there because we need to move on to our next experiment. I'm going to leave this book out for y'all so that y'all, in y'all's own time, if y'all want, I'm going to put it in the library and y'all can finish reading it. It is basically going through it is going into the past of the Grand Canyon and how its formation. It talks about more wildlife, more environmental, more habitats and ecosystems. We'll get more into that later on into our lesson, okay? So we're now to move on into our flip book.